Hey everybody, Wendy Clanky with Blue Cat Studio. Welcome to this lunch and paint session. We are going to do some whimsical flowers, and I just lost my pencil, but I was sketching a second ago, and we're just going to kind of have fun with this. And I've decided that I'm going to use a piece of paper, sheet music from opera score, Merry Wives of Windsor, just in case you were wondering where that came from. So we'll begin with a sketch. Now I know we're going to do some flowers. So we'll begin with like a little, what's that called? A vase. Keep it just kind of simple and square, maybe kind of even it out. And we're going whimsical here. So I'm going to make some crazy-ish, not crazy, but just sort of weird shapes. So a couple of ovals here. Hey, Holly, good afternoon. All right, so now that we've got that, I create these flowers that I like to think of as almost as olives. So I'm literally doing ovals, and this will make more sense once I kind of get them in with the ink, but I'm going to just hand sketch with pencil first to ensure that, we kind of have the right overlaps and I'm not, realizing I want something in the foreground versus the background. And then maybe we'll do one more kind of facing us right here. So it's kind of foreshortened and boop, boop, boop. Let's see why I didn't ink that in yet, because I got a flower here. That's 4. That's uneven. Maybe we'll just do one more right here, like a little guy, like so. Bum, bum. All right, looks a little weird. It's fine. And then maybe we can just do a few, shoots and sprigs, kind of keep it whimsical. I don't know exactly, bits and pieces coming off. So again, I'm just kind of using basic painter's tape. I probably bought this at Lowe's or the Depot. I don't even remember which. Maybe a leaf or two here and there. I don't know. That looks good to me. So let's go ahead and figure out the order of operations here. So I know this guy's kind of in front. So I do kind of an oval with a circle, and we'll shoot the little sprigs out. And then this guy here. I love these. They remind me of kind of like of aliens or something. We have a leaf here that's coming out. And this guy, boom. We're going to do this kind of, I kind of think of this as like mixed media light. And then some sprigs. And this could just end up getting way too busy. I don't know. Sometimes I just have fun kind of doodle sketch painting and playing. So it allows you to kind of not have to take yourself too seriously, just have fun. And so in general, the vase is going to be the very last thing that we draw in place, because it is kind of underneath the rest of this. So again, hopefully you kind of do something similar. You play, have fun with me here. And now we'll add a little vase. We'll add a little bit of curvature. So this is almost like one of those sort of tight clusters of flowers. I feel like I need a little bit of leaf right in here. We'll tweak that so it makes sense. Okay, so now we have like a very simple, basic composition. I'm going to go over this with my eraser really quick. I'll blast my paint pen. So if you're wondering what paint pen I used, it's an Artistro medium point marker. I just get these on Amazon, and I usually buy them in like a 12 pack. It's like 6 black, 6 white. I love them. I could also use permanent marker, but this is also acrylic, water-based, just like the rest of my stuff. So it seems logical to use it. All right, and we're gonna, is this thing working? Oh no. Oh man, I was all excited about catching this on hyperlapse, and I missed. Well, all right, now we're going. So just erasing the extra pencil bits. And it's just because I don't really feel like having all the pencil bits showing. So from here, grab any old plate. I'm going to use a prior palette just because, why waste, right? And I love my fluorescent colors, so we're just going to squeeze a few bits and pieces on here, and we're going to get really mishy-mashy with the background color. We're just here to have fun. So quinacridone magenta, fluorescent red, and a very bright yellow, daffodil yellow from Folk Art. These are fantastic, and we'll do, that brush is fairly big for this, but I think we can still get away with it. Ooh, I've got a yucky edge there, which is going to give me a yucky edge. All right. And you know, we want some purple too. We'll grab purple Pizzazz from Deco Art. So we're using a whole kind of range of paint types here. 3 different brands. We have Liquitex, Deco Art, and Folk Art. So I'm just grabbing kind of bits of color and just kind of placing it in here. We're creating a background, and you can be almost kind of willy-nilly. You just want to add kind of some interesting bits, some variety. I can still see my lines underneath, and it's going to give me something to work with. Whoops. And I'm not really rinsing, I'm just kind of grabbing paint. But if you feel like you're turning everything into a mush, then you may need to offload or rinse. So I'm going to just do a quick offload. I don't think I need to rinse this brush yet. I'm just going to plop into the purple. Maybe grab a touch of the quinacridone. Probably too much touch, and just try and blend a little bit, see what kind of a purpley tone we can create. And then bring a little bit of purple in here at the base. I don't really have rhyme or reason for this, but I didn't want a ton of purple, but I did want some. I mean, we went like purple hog wild crazy last night. So was it last night? It was last night. So trying to go back to some of our warmer tones. A few edge bits here that I want to just magentify. Okay. Let's see if I can dab a little bit of purple in just right in here. Okay, so now we've created just a nice colorful base. And what this does is it takes the risk away from making our art. Hey there, Linda. Good to see you, my dear. So we got Texas and DC in-house. No, are you Texas? You are in Texas, right? The cowboy hat always makes me think Texas. But then sometimes I think you're actually in El Paso or in somewhere else. I'm just rinsing my brush real quick. And hey, while we're here, let's give this a quick blast. So I didn't even get perfect coverage. And I can't even tell you what part of the Merry Wives of Windsor this is, but it works. Hey, Mel. Good to see you. Well, I haven't painted many flowers recently, but Mel is like the queen of flowers. She does amazing, amazing work. She's with Hometown Paints. So definitely check her out when you get a chance. Oh, no. All right, y'all. Every which way right now, but it's cool. It is cool. So here we have just like a good kind of base going, right? And now we need some gesso. I don't see my gesso, so I'm going to go with white paint instead. And we're going to do a little bit of blocking. So a little bit of white, but I think I also would like to add a little bit of my Bahama blue. We always play with Bahama blue. Okay, good, Linda. So I'm not confused. Sometimes my brain goes, wait, hold on. And we're going to move down to a smaller brush. So here we have kind of a medium, you can kind of see that, a medium round. It's not tiny, but it's not also completely huge. So I'm going to take kind of this turquoise and white, plop it over here, just make some kind of mix in between. And I think I want it to be a really light blue. Not quite white, but pretty light. There we go. And I'm just going to use that to kind of come around my shapes here. And again, it's a little bit of that blocking out. And we'll come back in and add some color on some of this, but I'm really feeling like just kind of getting some of the shapes blocked out is helpful. And one of the things I love about having a background like this is you can be as thorough about coverage as you like, or not thorough. And sometimes being not thorough kind of creates a cool look when those just little bits of the background color peek through. So I might be like more careful on certain edges and then a little less careful as I get. So more careful when I'm kind of getting around the shapes and a little less careful as I radiate out where little bits maybe peek through. So I can even leave a couple of tiny bald spots kind of along here. And because I've got it taped off, it'll still have a pretty good edge, I think. So I think for these little dooley boppers, I'm going to paint over the lines. Otherwise, we're all going to kill each other trying to watch me paint around those lines. And because they're just going to be black Oh yeah, there we go. Stamen, not dooley boppers. Well, okay, there you go. Our whimsical flowers have dooley boppers. Did you guys ever wear those dooley boppers like at school when you were a kid? I feel like there was one girl, Emily, I forget her last name, but she would always show up to school with like the dooley boppers of the season. It was like the headband with like the things on the springs, and she was always so perfectly cute, and everybody wanted to be her. Dooley boppers, there you go. All right. So again, just using that kind of off-white, that slightly pale blue white to just kind of mask. And I'm not using gesso today, one, because it's not in front of me, and two, well, because it's not in front of me. And gesso tints a little bit strangely, so we're just going to use this kind of light Bahama. I'm running a little low on that, so I'm just going to keep mixing, and maybe it ends up getting a little bluer. No big deal, but just kind of blocking out some shapes. And as we block it out, I really love this because then like the actual shape of the design starts to kind of pop a little bit, and you kind of get that sense of, oh yeah, this is going to be cool. Then you can just kind of have fun adding some color to it, etc. So if you're watching and you're in silent mood, say hi so I know you're there. Always love chatting with you guys. It's so much fun. Or if you have questions, throw them out there in the comments. You know, let's play Stump the Chump. I bet you I'll be like, oh, I don't know. But it's always fun to do that. Oh, which reminds me also this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So that's going to be 10 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Pacific. We're going to be doing a stitched to your heart kind of mixed media, sort of like mixed media light project in the Let's Paint with Blue Cat free group. So if you're not in that group yet, please request to join, or if you need the link to the group, just type group in the comments. Hey Lisa, good to see you. I know you're joining us this weekend, right? To do a little painting. Hopefully you were able to see the what's it called? The supply list, so you know what to get. And I would suggest just using like a square canvas or piece of board, or even just, well, you need something heavy enough that it can actually manage the what's it called? Modeling paste, because modeling paste gets heavy. All right, so now we've already kind of blocked this out, so you can kind of see where we're going with this. And little bits of the color are peeking through, but we still have this wild cacophony, which of course is absolutely what we want. So I'm going to offload some of this lighter color. I could rinse. I'm feeling I don't need to. So grabbing some Mermaid Tail Teal because we love it and because we always use it. Oh, good. And you're going to get a canvas for Peyton. That's going to be awesome. Do you think you're going to want a tracer, Lisa, or do you think you're going to be okay to just sort of draw your own heart and make it really unique? I have not created a tracer for this yet, but you know, if a lot of folks are, oh, offload. So when, that's a great question. I use it all the time. When I have a lot of paint on my brush and I need to get rid of it, I usually will kind of offload it by just swishing it on a piece of paper, junk mail. This is an old stock prospectus from DuPont, which is torn up and loved and all that stuff. Okay, cool. So I may create a tracer if I've got time. Excuse me, and share it out for those who are feeling like a little uptight about this. Maybe that's not the right word. But often there's, and I'll talk you guys through how to draw the heart. But if you're feeling, you know, like you just want a little help, then we'll also make that available. So I'm just taking this green, and I literally took my daffodil yellow and my mermaid tail teal and just mushed it together and it makes this gorgeous, bright, vibrant green. I'm like, why would I ever why would I buy green when I could make my own gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous green? We're just going to start to kind of fill in. Again, these are super electric, so I'm going to have to tone this down a little bit if I want any level of kind of believability, if I want to actually sell this. But I think that this green is still kind of a nice It's a nice base coat to just block in some color. Kind of tells your brain where the stuff is happening, and then we can tone it and tweak it from there. But I do love, I do love using this color. And so while I do have like spring green and apple tart, is it sour apple? There's a couple of different apple somethings from the different brands. They're nice. They don't have quite the level of intensity and pow that I really like. Okay, so here we go. We're just adding the green in, and you can see that I am not being in any way, shape, or form accurate or careful with this. I'm just kind of placing it, just kind of having fun. So now it's starting to have that, well, I'm going to paint a rainbow here. We have a sense of balance, right? Because we've kind of got all the colors in a few spots. I feel like I need a little something right in here. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe we'll add a leaf. Maybe a little bit more right in there too. Okay, so just filling it in. Now, if we want to go a little further on those leaves, we can. I'm just going to grab some of the mermaid tail teal, start to bring down a little bit of shading kind of in all the spaces where it abuts other stuff, especially where it's kind of overlapping, underlapping, whatever, it's kind of behind these. So I'm going to add a little bit of tone, and maybe I should use a smaller brush. Just kind of giving it some depth there. So pulling a little bit of that teal from here and just kind of pulling it down and underneath. And again, I can't imagine what any of these flowers are in real life. So we're just having fun kind of making up our own fake flowers and flora and fauna. Just having fun. So adding some dots and dabs. Let's see. So Linda says, you'll be there too. And 3 granddaughters are joining me. Oh my gosh. If you get a chance, Linda, please, please, please snap pics of you guys doing it and post it on Blue Cat or in the group. I would absolutely love to see you guys having fun doing one of these projects. Because, I sit here on screen kind of doing my thing and talking to you guys. And it's so much fun to actually see you guys doing the thing. And I don't know. It makes me happy. And you guys are going to wing it too. And maybe draw with chalk before you paint. 8, 10, and 11. Oh yeah, they totally got this. They totally got this. And I'll provide some templates if we need them. All right, so we've got some green in here that's starting to sort of hold this together. Okay, so Lisa, I'm going to off-road. So I've got a lot of this, extra teal on my brush. So I'm literally just brushing it off. And the reason I do that is one, it just makes things easier. And then 2, it's less junk in my rinse water. Because oftentimes your rinse water can get really, really gross. And so when I'm here, doing this for you guys, it's very hard for me to pause, walk away, go rinse and come back. Y'all don't have patience for that, right? I mean, I don't have patience for that. Okay, so now this guy, we need to come up with some, I want some dark. So I'm just thinking aloud here. I love the kind of the color that's going here. I want to get a little bit of white in a few spots to kind of, and we need some darks as well, because this is very mono something or other. All right, what do we got? Oh, in front of me, I have some bubblegum pink. So we're going to use some bubblegum pink. Now, I don't want to lose the bright, vibrant sort of tone that I've set here, but I also need to balance it a little bit. So I'm getting some paint on my brush, but can you see how I'm kind of scrubbing it with my bristles? So you can see that I've got pink on the bristles, but you can also kind of see the bristles. This allows me to control how much paint is actually there. So I'm going to kind of come in and just kind of start to create a little bit around kind of the circles here. And maybe a little bit along the top here. So think of these as almost like the highlights, kind of places where we might be catching the light. But I'm also thinking in terms of lights and darks. If I've got these really light edges, then I don't want it to get too light right up next to that, lest I have to only rely on my black lines to differentiate them. So that's kind of the whole concept of values, where you want to have a good balance of lights and darks. If you don't have a good balance, then you get mush. And we don't like mush. or at least most of the time when I see people in painting forums asking like, hey, you know, it's not quite what I wanted. How do I make this better? What I do wrong? You know, it 99% of the time they have not sort of respected the concept of values, and they've created mush. And so my goal, of course, is to kind of help you guys learn that. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of outlining of some of these little inner ovals with the light pink, but I'm trying to preserve that little bit of background color showing. So I'm going to have to do a little fudging right in here. Oh, so Lisa, I think one time, like, I was painting live and maybe Peyton was watching and chatting with me, but I didn't see your name, so I didn't know who it was. Was that you guys? When I had like the whole conversation with Peyton? Sorry, I had like this whole moment flash of like, oh, this conversation. Okay, so right in here, I've got some pretty good dark colors with that green. So I'm gonna take a little bit more license and bring some more of that pink in. And I think we want to outline this edge a little. But you can see how we're kind of slowly forming these flowers. It's starting to kind of, it is. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. So I'm building out slowly. And I have to tell you, sometimes just because of the angle of where I'm sitting, I can't tell what's going on because I've got a lot of glare because of all the lights to make this thing show up properly. So I just look on screen, and I got to tell you, it's actually pretty helpful to, because it's almost like it gives me kind of that I don't know. Have you ever looked at something through a camera? Like you think your house looks great, it looks really tidy. You take a photo of it, and suddenly you see every piece of clutter because the camera doesn't edit any of that out, whereas your brain does. It's kind of like, that's why I love looking on screen to see, right? What am I actually doing? Okay, so I'm liking how that is forming. We still can see the other colors underneath. I don't want to lose that quality. Oh, there's my pink. But I also don't want it to be just completely overwhelming. So I'm staying away from the edges, but just bringing the pink kind of down. It's a little see-through through here. I'm going to grab some white. Now I've adulterated the heck out of my white, so I'm going to find a quote unquote pure spot. That sounds ridiculous, and just kind of come in and add a little extra highlight to a few of these spots. So especially like the rims, and a little bit kind of in the center in here. Again, this is my first time painting this, so we're just playing, we're riffing. But that's kind of what luncheon paint is about. I feel like I spend a lot of time providing like really planned projects for you, but sometimes just going through the creative process and talking through kind of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and kind of letting it evolve on camera, I think is helpful for you to see. You know, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna have to figure out how to come back from it. And when I get stuck, we often refer back to some of our basics, whether it's color theory or composition or whatever. And so we haven't covered it yet in our composition discussions, but this one is probably the one where it's radiating. A lot of flower arrangements tend to be the radiating composition archetype, because flowers tend to radiate out from a center. So I'm just intensifying a few of the white spots. You see how those now, they kind of have like a structure. They're all still super weird. So let's see. Linda says, does painting the entire background color have a lot to do with this whole process? Do you mean the base coating, like all this mishmash color, Linda? Or do you mean the blocking it out with these other things? And Lisa says Peyton loves drawing. So for me, I like the base color because little bits of it peek through. And sometimes for me, I also feel like when I go a little bit crazy with color on the base and then add on top of it, it's less intimidating. Like a blank canvas, especially when I am just like shooting from the hip, which I'm doing a little bit right now, that can be very difficult and intimidating, right? And if I mess up this, I feel like I got a little bit more. Plus, I just love the colors peeking out. So I don't know if the whole bright background. Yeah, that is a huge process for me because it allows little bits to peek out. And, you know, in some mixed media, sometimes it really shows up and sometimes it doesn't. So I'm feeling like this guy is going to go purplish. I'm going to go with a lighter purple, but obviously I've got this light blue, so I don't want to go too light. And I want some very deep purples up in this area. So I've got some pale pink. I'm going to just take advantage of that while I have it. And we're going to mix our purple today. I know I could not mix it and just go. All right, so I'm going to take the mermaid tail and the quinacridone magenta. Mix them together and it creates a lovely violet color. There we go. That's a nice deep violet. And this is an amazing color for shading just about anything. At least in my world. Very dark. This is how I can kind of not use black, right? We will use some black when we break out the whole the paint pens again. But for now, we're going to just kind of come in here and do this. And I'm just going to plop the dark colors in and under and kind of near where the greens are on the vase. And then we'll kind of lighten up as we move down. And I think, what did I grab? Oh, a little quina, a little purple. I don't know. Here, I got some quinacridone and some purple. I'm going to take a variation on that. Can you see how this is my deep purple? More magenta, and it becomes a little bit plummier. I'm going to put a little bit of the plum kind of in the cracks and crevices, kind of surrounding these things. I don't know, in a few spots. I don't want to overdo it, but a little bit, and then maybe a little kind of. So you see how we have an oval there? I kind of do like the lower portion of the oval because that might be the inside of the flower. This one, it's going to be the side because our view is that way. I'm trying to add like a little bit of shading or shadow in there. So the upper portion in here, like kind of where it's orange, the lights may be still landing, but then as it goes in, it gets to get darker. Hey, Carrie, you just got here. Welcome. So this is just us kind of riffing on some goofy flowers, having a good time, slowly but surely covering up, excuse me, a wild and crazy set of background colors on sheet music, Merry Wives of Windsor, if you are an opera fan. Okay. So now I'm going to grab a little bit more of our white here and just mix it in with that purple to lighten it a little. You can see how that really changed it up. And if I kind of then bring that down along here, and again, I'm going for a solid base. I guess I could have done a glass one. We could still go back and make it glass. Depends on what you guys want to do. But I'm also just trying to keep this kind of short and sweet and fun, something you can play with, no pressure, get creative. So now I want to like a little blendy so that this is, because I talked too much and my darker purple started to dry. So now I needed to create like something in between to kind of blend. So you see it's like darker underneath and it starts to get lighter as it comes down. So now I'll grab a little bit more white and we'll add a little highlight. There's no logic to my highlighting. So we'll just add a little something kind of right along the base here. Just kind of zigzag a little lighting up this way. I don't know. I just make this up as we go. Oh, I got so much glare you can't see that. I wonder if I can tweak my lighting. Does that help? No. Little. Oh, hey there, Victoria. She says, hello, they are so pretty. Okay, and then some Facebook user came on and it doesn't say, but I'm going to read it out loud. It says, I had to step away for a few minutes and wow, I came back in total transformation. You got to go back and see how I did it. Yeah. And you know what? You'll be surprised. It's pretty doable, but it is a transformation. And this is one of my favorite styles of painting, but I'm trying not to be like a one-hit wonder where all I do is these funny whimsical flowers. Like trying to like keep it interesting and add other stuff, but I do have fun with this type of thing. And I haven't done flowers in a while. Okay, so we have added a little bit of, I just want to take it and tilt it, but it's stuck to my paper. But you can kind of see where we're going with this. Now, I'm also feeling like I want to deepen the corners a little bit here, a little bit darker. Like I kind of, all right, I'm going to just grab some teal. Oh, I should have offloaded. Let me offload really quick. So again, just brushing off the excess paint. I could rinse, but why? We're kind of in the same family. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the teal, just bring it over here to what's left of my quinacridone. And just kind of deepen the edge there. Again, that's going to kind of help add a little depth and roundness. Looks like we're getting a little teal in there, no problem. I'm not going to stress about that. In fact, it'll probably look kind of cool. And by kind of adding a little bit of that curvature to each section there, it just helps it, helps it look rounder. So yes, add the highlight, but then don't forget to add what I always call the low lights, but I guess it's technically the shadows. Now I think just for giggles, we should add some, should we add a fluorescent orange shadow? Should we add? Yeah, I think we're going to do some fluorescent orange shadow. I'm going to rinse my brush. Offload first just to get rid of the excess pigment, so I'm not doing an uphill battle with my rinse water. So despite all the rinsing I've done, that's not bad. It's not as muddy as it could be. And that's one of the many reasons that we offload. All right, going back with some fluorescent red. I usually screw up and call it fluorescent orange, but really it's fluorescent red. I have fluorescent orange, but I never remember to use it. Whoops. All right, so I'm going to go with a smaller brush. What do we got for small brushes around here? I guess that's not really that different, is it? Okay, I'm going to go with a small brush. Like, this is one of my little skinny mermaid brushes. Oh my gosh, you guys, these mermaid brushes are like the bomb. I love them. So I think this tends to be a very see-through color. So I'm going to see if I can grab just a tiny bit of the white that hasn't been tinged by the Bahama blue, which is almost all. I'm going to mix the fluorescent red into it. So it's going to be almost all fluorescent red with just a touch of the white. And that's just going to help with the opacity so that I don't end up with a fluorescent red wash on top of my thing. Okay, so these leaves are not that, it's still a wash, but that's okay. So maybe just a pinch more of the white. These leaves are not fully formed, but I'm cool with that. So just kind of a few little blops. And I realize it's not totally logical, but sometimes adding these really bright, sort of insane colors in the depths of your shadows, I don't know, it just gives like a wonderful pop. See if I can blop some of this stuff on and it show up. So some of this is a little bit light, so I can just add a second bit of the fluorescent stuff on top of the lightened version, and that just kind of lets it pop. And my logic in doing that is, I don't know, it just kind of draws the eye. It keeps things interesting. It's very contrasty, opposite, unexpected. I just love the way it looks. I feel like it adds a little vibrancy. So I'm kind of almost like jiggle-jaggling the paint along the bottom here and the edges, not keeping it super, not keeping it super accurate. That's amazing. Thank you, Linda. Facebook user. I'm almost willing to bet that's Robin, but I don't know for sure. Says that's my favorite part, how the wonky colors don't look so wonky later. I know, mine too. And you know, sometimes you have to just kind of be like, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to put fear aside. If I mess up, so be it. You know what? I have a spot right here. I'm going to just add a big old chunk. Oh, that chunk is going to kill me. I'm just adding a chunk right in here of that fluorescent orange or red, whatever it is. A little bit in here. Here we are, back to finger painting. A little bit here. Just a few spots. I don't know. Just kind of picking spots where there's shadows. And that's a fun trick, is when you throw crazy colors like this into the shadows, your shadows come alive and suddenly you don't just have a flat thing. It's like using black is one of my biggest pet peeves, because black tends to just, I don't know. Somebody wrote the other day on Facebook that it's a void of color, and I think she was right. But for me, it takes the vibrancy out. And, you know, it's a great place to start if you're not sure how to do it. But then once you learn to kind of evolve away from just using black, I mean, your stuff comes alive and it starts to pop off canvas. Okay, so I'm going to pause and look at this for a minute here. Again, my leaves are very rough. My flowers are very rough. But I sort of feel like if oh, it's Holly. Okay, hi. Of course, wonky. That was going to be my other guess. You and Robin both tend to pop on with Facebook user, so I'm never sure who it is. I'm going to give this a quick blast with the blow dryer, because I've got a couple of very wet spots. And I'm feeling like now if I just start to like use the pen to place the pieces back in, we will probably be pretty close to done. And, you know, okay, so I missed the doobly boppers on this one. I painted right over them. That's no big deal. We'll find a way to kind of bring those back to life. Looking at the leaves, thinking I need to step down to a smaller pen. So I might use 2 different sizes of pen on this. You could also use a brush. Now I want to get this really thoroughly dry, because if it's not dry and I use a paint pen on it, I'll ruin my paint pen, and these things tend to be kind of expensive. So, you know, preserve my material so I can keep using them. All right. So while this is kind of fun just the way it is, I think we want to bring everything sort of back. Would I want to do text, remind, messenger, or other way to notify when you go live? You know, Cassie, that is something I'm looking into. I just set up, I halfway set up a remind. I halfway set it up, and I would love to keep going with that. Sometimes technology is a bit of a learning curve for me. All right, so I'm just going to take a risk here with my skinny fine point. Just going to kind of draw some stems coming out and maybe re-articulate some leaves, but get sketchy, right? I'm not going to stay totally within the lines. I'm going to just sketchy sketch on top of it. So yes, Cassie, I very much want to set up a texting app and stuff. One of them was like $100 a month, and I was like, maybe not yet. And then there's Remind, which of course is free, and I just have to learn how to do it. But I would love to do that, and then you guys can all get the heads up when I'm on. So again, sketchy sketching some stuff in here. I'm feeling, you know, at some point like a white pen might also be a cool addition in here. So keep it really loose. You know, it's almost like I do a line and then I just kind of jiggle jaggle some leaves along it. Keep it loose. It's so tempting to. I love it when you join me live too, Cassie. Okay, so I'll see if I can set aside some time this weekend to figure it out, and maybe I'll just do a quick beta test with you guys, my inner circle folks. Since you're my most tolerant set, and we can see if it works, and y'all can give me some feedback. Okay. So now we've added a whole ton of detail on those leaves. It's darkened it up a little bit, which I don't totally love, but you know what, we're going to go with it. If I need to add some highlight in afterwards, we could totally do that. I think from here, I really want to use the fat lines. Okay, we're going with fat lines. Am I going with fat lines? I'm so on the fence, you guys. All right, we're going to do fat lines. So I'm going to do my doobly boppers here. So why did I choose fat lines? I don't know. I just love the way this pen looks. But I felt like it would totally and completely overpower the leaves. And it's a little bit strong even for this design. Like, you know, I could probably, I don't know. I just like the way it looks. There you go. There's my, oops, I don't want to cover up my cool highlighting there. So we'll just kind of loosely come along here. All right, we lost our doobly bopper bits. I think there's probably a way to do this without outlining, you know, and using paint pen, but I so love just kind of the sketchy feel. So I'm going to do this out here. I'm going to create some circles, and then we'll figure out how to fill them in with something. Oops, there's my doobly bopper line right there. Okay, we'll just BS that guy. And then let's see. I want to do some more sketchy sketch bit in here. You didn't show up. Oh my gosh, Cassie, it didn't show you until 20 minutes in. You know, I think Holly was mentioning the same thing. And sometimes the Facebook notifications are weird. I don't fully get them. All right, I'm going to grab a white paint pen and pray that it actually works. These are more of the Artistro ones, fine point, a little bit of a mess, but I'm just going to kind of come in and do a little jiggle jaggle in there and maybe kind of drink. Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's kind of fun. I don't want to cover this up completely, but little bits here and there just to add a little highlight to the parts of the doodly bopper. Especially the ones that are kind of embroiled in the dark. You know, you could add a little even jiggle jaggle kind of sketchy sketch in there to highlight your highlight. I put highlight on my highlight. It's like ketchup on your ketchup. That's like my kid right there. And so I don't know if you can see that, but I'm putting the white lines next to the black lines as opposed to on top of the black lines. Okay, so inner circle, guys, I'll try and figure out Remind. I think it's an opt-in thing, and so maybe we can beta test it a little bit this weekend. Okay, so I've got a lot going on there. I think we'll put a few like little highlights. Here we go, just little jiggles on the leaves to kind of bring them up a little. So I'm going lighter with the white, like, I mean, less with the white, but just little bits here and there to kind of help with the layering. Oh, I like the lines. So I also like that the white is showing through. So again, we're just kind of playing, keeping it loose. And so I definitely encourage you to sort of try something, get Holly says, I love the wonky doodly boppers with their jiggle jangles. That is exactly right? We're just keeping it loose. We're trying stuff. We're kind of scribble scrabbling. There's another one for you to add to it. Scribble scrabble. And this base needs something. I half worry I'm going to ruin it, but I feel like it's kind of the odd man out if I don't. So I'm going to scribble scrabble the highlight there. Now this is sort of floating out in the middle of nowhere. So let's take the black line and we'll give it like a little horizon. That's the word I'm looking for. Horizon. And maybe I'll come back in. Where did I put my big fat brush? Here it is. With some of this blue, and I'm just going to grab straight Bahama blue and just kind of scrub bits of it. And again, I'm just kind of dabbing it in and let some of the other stuff from underneath show through. Stay away from the leaves there. Keep it rough. And now you've got kind of a base. I think it's time to do the full reveal. Do we need any more blue in here anywhere? Do we need some blue? I'm sorry. I want to put a little bit of blue like right there. Oh, yes. Yep. All right. So little couple of like these Bahama blue highlights and just kind of, it's sort of opposite of pink. But yeah, that was the missing piece. There we go. All right. This brush is way too big for this. I'm going to offload it really quick, plop it in the rinse water and come back to... Here, we'll get this guy that we were working with earlier. And, you know, I sort of flatten the brush out a little bit just so I can get so I can kind of have an edge there. Just little touches of the blue, just little touches. For some reason, I feel like that catches the reflection from the background, right? Because when you do something like this, it's going to pick up the background color. And we very clearly made it a blue background. So if the flowers and the other things don't, especially when they're sort of smooth surfaces, don't reflect any of the blue from the background, it sort of deteriorates or takes away from the credibility. But I think that's like all the blue that we really need. So I think our brains are telling us that these are these weird pink olive style alien flowers and things are going every which way and it's a wild, hot, crazy mess. But they're also reflecting the background. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you guys for joining me. Oh, wait. We got to do the big reveal. I keep forgetting. It's my favorite part. One. Ooh, we got crisp lines on it this time. I think last night I didn't smooth my edges well enough. And so I had like all this paint seeping underneath. And so, you know, on this one, you can actually see little bits of the musical notes and lines. Uh-oh. Don't tear my paper. showing through in the flowers. All right, this tape wasn't so great for the paper, but that's fine. Oh, it tore off a corner, but it still looks good, so I don't really care. Let's see if I can pull my corner back. To like Mod Podge glue that thing down. There's my corner. All right, well, anyways, there you go. That came out kind of cute, huh? So then if we wanted, we could kind of, trim around it, and there you go. Or even find a way to kind of frame it so you have some of your music showing through. You could even do like a fun like black outline, or even do a little jiggle jaggle black outline that kind of becomes like a freehandy loose edging. So this has been fun, you guys, and we will see you on Saturday. And again, if you don't have information for Saturday, we are doing the Stitched to My Heart semi-mixed media project. We'll be doing this live in the Let's Paint with Blue Cat studio, as well as the Inner Circle for those of you who are my premium members. And we're using modeling paste on this, which is way cool. Look at this, you guys. I mean, if you've used this, but if you haven't, I mean, this goop right here, that is the stuff. Like, so when you go to like a gallery, unless it's oil paint, and you see an acrylic that's really dimensional, it's not gobs and gobs of paint. It's this stuff. This is the thing. So you do not have to go to the Liquitex stuff, although if you're going to run to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, this is what you're likely to find, and it's great, great quality. It's going to be a little bit pricier, but if you have time, and you may not, but if you're thinking long term, Amazon has a great batch of stuff too. It is, where's my tub? Nope. All right, I don't know where my tub is. Gosh, you guys, I'm always moving things around. But they have, it's also a light modeling paste. It kind of falls in like the paint medium section. Do I have a good example to start one with that stuff? To start with the modeling paste or something else? Because I am going to do a demo of how to use the modeling paste on Saturday. And we'll use it and we'll mix. And so some of the tools you're going to want are going to be like a palette knife. So maybe you can, yeah, I promise. I'll do a whole demo on Saturday of how to do this. But again, if you get a chance to pick up the Liquitex light modeling paste to do this guy, you'll be super happy. And of course, palette knives. So this palette knife does not have a bend in it. Can you see that? Like so. I personally prefer when I'm applying stuff to a surface to have that slight bend. You see that slight zigzag in there? It just allows me to not have to force the knife to bend all the time. And it kind of, keeps you from dragging your knuckles. Whereas here, it's sort of awkward. I hope that makes sense. And again, if you're feeling really tentative, you could start with a smaller one. Now, these guys all come together in like a 5-pack of these things. And these are cheapo. I think you can get them for like $5 a pack on Amazon, but they may not show up in time for Saturday. So you can also just pop over to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and get the pack. So Cassie says she picked up the modeling paste to do the wings. Yeah, you probably did. Same stuff. We'll be using a whole lot less here. And in this one, we're actually going to mix the color, the pigment into the modeling paste and apply it. Because trying to paint over modeling paste, well, that requires you to wait 24 hours to let it dry. So anyways, you guys, it's been great. I love you all. Thank you. And if you have more questions, even after I get offline, please feel free to just post them in the comments. I will come back to you. And if you're watching the replay and you don't know where to go to get to the Stitched on My Heart project, then just write Stitched on My Heart or Stitched Heart with a hashtag. I will see it and I will make sure that I get you a link to join the group or groups or one of the places where it's going to be happening live. Inner Circle folks, you know where to go. All right, y'all. I love you. You're the best. See you later. Bye.